The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
All right, people, break out your notebooks and pencils and slide rules. You're listening to Tech Talk Radio with true geeks. And by the way, I'm Dee Snyder, and I'm a geek too.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy.
And good to see you guys. Man, a lot happened in this past week with stuff that we talked about last week.
Just a few things, yeah.
All right.
There's a lot that we talked about last week as like, this just happened. And now it's stuff has
I know,
happened
right?
to what
Tom
happened.
Brady is retiring. Holy crap.
It was kind of funny. That's the way the World Wide Web works. The internet is that a rumor gets out and everybody right away picks up on it. Then somebody comes out and says, no, because I don't think they were ready. They didn't want to make that announcement, on a day where there's no news crews.
Well, it was Adam Schefter's fault. Adam Schefter is like the premier leaker of NHL or NFL news.
Right.
And I have a feeling that Tom Brady had a conversation with one of his friends and said, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about retiring. And Adam Schefter was like sitting in the background but behind his friend at the diner and was like, wait, what? And then he immediately tweeted it and boom, everything blew up.
Yeah. That was pretty big news. So now we know the teams that are going to be playing in the Super Bowl, and because we're not tying it with an ad, we can call it the Super Bowl.
Those Bengals.
You think the Bengals?
How about them?
Yeah.
How about them beating the Chiefs? Okay, I know this is not a sports show, but holy cow.
Yeah.
That was an amazing game.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it. And here's funny. I heard this on Facebook today. This is true. Dak Prescott, the quarterback for the Cowboys, has been playing for 6 years and has been paid $180 million and has yet to reach the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Bengals, in his first year is going to the Bengals. Or going to the Bengals. Going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Come on. That's amazing.
So you're predicting the Bengals, Shawn?
Absolutely.
An interesting fact I learned today, we were talking about it at work. This is the first time a Super Bowl team has played in their own stadium.
No, it is not. Last year, Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa Bay played in their own stadium and won. This year, it's the second time in history.
I must have not. For some reason, we were talking about it. It was the first time, but
no, it's the second time.
So the game is happening at SoFi in Los Angeles,
yes,
right?
Yes,
okay.
And that's the home of the Rams. Right. Last year was Tampa Bay, the home of the Bucks, and they won.
Okay. So Shawn's going to go in there armed with new info tomorrow.
Of course, no. Shawn's going to go and look this up because he doesn't believe me, but that's cool.
I am going to look it up, but tomorrow I might not be able to go into work because we're supposed to get a foot of snow overnight.
Yeah.
So are we.
It's pretty much snarled traffic around here. It's been warmer here. You go to the eastern side of the state and a little bit into Ohio, and it's been a lot worse. But we're projected to get over a foot of snow tonight. And It was raining really, really hard when I came home from work.
Oh, my gosh. Now you're going to get ice underneath that snow.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be miserable tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, for listeners who don't know, Shawn is in South Bend, Indiana, and then Justin. See, I think when Justin and winter comes, I think it's always snowing. I think it's like it's like perpetual snow.
That's a very much misnomer. I mean, like I would think that where Shawn is at obviously gets more snow. Denver does not get a lot of snow because it's considered the high desert. We're a mile high. That's why they call it the Mile High City.
Right.
Our snowy season doesn't really start until mid-January, and then it ramps up in February and March. March is the snowiest month in Colorado. And then right after March, boom, everything melts and it's spring.
And it's beautiful there.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like last March, we got hit with a massive blizzard. It was so funny because when it started, I posted on Facebook like, hey, everybody's talking about we're supposed to get 2 feet of snow, and this is it? And I took a picture of it outside, and it was like 1 inch of snow, right? And it was at nighttime. I wake up the next morning, it was literally 2 feet of snow, and I posted on Facebook. I was like, well, I was wrong.
Now, one of the things I like that we didn't really get last year, I mean, there were some, but honestly, the ads, the Super Bowl ads, they'll get the ads that run during the big game, right? And it looks like Nissan has put together one that's going to be good with Dave Bautista, and it's an action type of one, promoting their products. And there's some other ones now with Guy Fieri is going to be one. It's kind of cool to see that's coming back.
Budweiser is coming back.
Right.
With their commercials, which is, they always make good commercials. But Coca-Cola is still not going to do Super Bowl commercials, which is interesting. It's the second year in a row.
Wow. Well, they're very expensive, the ads. And I think a lot of people are going to be tuned in for the game this year.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be watching it.
Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd are doing a commercial, and it's for Lay's. And then also you've got Steve Buscemi and Peyton Manning doing a commercial together.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of really good commercials this year.
Well, a lot of people, the question comes in, and you're going to start to see a lot of people now, a lot of vendors, a lot of manufacturers starting to promote, hey, we got these big TVs for the big game. They want people to buy televisions. And, the thing is that we've had people ask us before, all right, I finally want to upgrade. They have maybe, a 27-inch television that's 720p, and it's time to get them. I've seen ads, but the problem is a lot of people, they get into the store and they start looking, they go, okay, hey, look at this one. I've seen advertised prices on, 1080p's going for pretty good price, under $200.
Oh, yeah.
Which you think about it, 8 years ago, it was, $700-800. So the question is, what do people need to look for? And I figured you guys, if somebody is going to go out and they're going to buy a television, what is overkill? And, what is going to be a good, for somebody who wants to just go up from a 720p to maybe something with HDMI ports on it, what is a good brand? What should they be looking at?
I'm going to let Shawn answer this one, but before
I think he just rolled his eyes.
But before I do, Shawn, do you remember? Let's run down memory lane.
That's why.
Do you remember when I did this segment with James Coe on Fox 5, the big game and what to buy for your TV? Do you remember that segment?
I don't.
You shared it with me on the video, and I remember that.
Yeah. You talk about it, Shawn, because I want to hear your thoughts on it, because you come from the actual broadcast side of the house. Now I work in television, but I'm on the network side of the house.
Right.
So let's see what Shawn has to say.
Oh boy. So it depends on how into, there's so many choices, right? It's you can go to the store and you get overwhelmed with all these TVs.
Yeah.
The TV that Caitlin and I have upstairs is 55 inches. And that's plenty big for our space.
Yeah.
Right. If we were to mount it on the wall, we could probably go to a 65 or even a 75 if we wanted to go that way. They make them as big as 120 inches now. At that point, you might as well go to a projector, which I have in the basement. But if I were to go and buy send somebody to the store and tell them to buy a TV, man, I'd have to ask them questions like, where are you going to put it? What are you going to watch? What are you going to stream?
How big is the room?
Right?
Yeah.
Does that make a difference?
Yep. How big is the room?
I would say if, on average, an average TV that I would send somebody to buy would be a 55-inch.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get away from not buying a smart TV, right? So your big smart TV vendors are Samsung, LG, Sony's Vizio.
What about Roku?
And
Roku
TVs are okay. We have they partnered with TCL to do their Roku TVs.
Okay.
Which is what we have. We have the TCL Roku TV 4K. And I would say the prices of the 4K Ultra HD TVs are coming down in price.
Oh yeah.
You might spend a little bit more now and not have a whole lot of access to content, but you can enable 4K HDR content through Netflix and I believe Disney Plus.
If you subscribe to that tier.
If you subscribe to that tier, right? Our TV does 1080p HDR. And I will tell you, the HDR content looks better than the non-HDR content.
Yeah.
But I would make the jump to 4K, the 4K TVs, the Ultra HDs, because anything that's 4K is going to be downsampled. If you're watching it on a 1080p TV, it's going to be downsampled. It's going to look really good anyways. But most stuff is going to get upsampled if you're watching it on a higher, bigger TV anyways.
If you're watching a 1080p source on a 4K TV, it's going to get upsampled to 4K, not downsampled. It's going to get upsampled.
Correct. I'm saying, but if you're watching 4K content now on a 1080p TV, it's getting downsampled.
Yeah. Well,
but if you're watching 720p or your local stations in HD, they're getting upsampled to meet the resolution of your TV.
That actually is the point I really wanted to make. Right, what you just said right there is okay. So if you are streaming, let's say, like you said, Netflix or HBO Max or Paramount Plus, whatever, and they have that 4K content, absolutely, you want to get a 4K TV. However, if you're looking to do just over-the-air broadcasts, The majority,
and that means with an antenna.
With an antenna,
Right?
Yeah, the over-the-air, not cable TV, not satellite. I'm talking over-the-air antenna. The majority of the TV stations out there are still broadcasting in 720p, with most of them, or they're starting to get equal with 720 and 1080. There is no station that is broadcasting in 4K yet.
Because the standard doesn't exist.
Well, it does.
ATS 3.0 exists, but it's not anywhere. It's not anywhere yet.
I disagree, actually, because I've been dealing with that directly. We are very, very close to having ATSC 3. I mean, it's already rolled out.
Yeah, but when you say
cities.
close, you're talking like 3-4 years, aren't you? I mean, you're not talking
months.
You really think so?
Try months.
Because I've always been told it's going to be a few years down the line.
No. I mean, for the majority, you're going to have a couple stations that already have their gear. I mean, we have a lot of our stations already rolled out with the ATSC 3 equipment. Now, they don't broadcast in 4K yet, but it's coming down the line very, very soon. We have everything in the works. We have everything laid out. It's just not been per se the switch hasn't been thrown. Okay, so it's there. It's ready to go with just a bit more fine tuning. However, like I said, most of your stuff is going to be 720 or 1080p for over the air. Even with cable television, the majority of your channels are going to be 1080p. Very few are going to be 4K, but you're buying a TV for the future, right?
Right.
You're buying a TV that's going to last you 5 or 10 years, hopefully. Go with the 4K. Hell, if you got the money, go with the 8K.
Oh, I don't know. That's overkill, isn't it?
If you got the money.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I'd say just go with the 4K TV.
The 4K TV is a solid you're not going to break the bank, but you're going to spend a little bit more money.
Well,
you
can't even really find a 1080p TV anymore.
Yeah, you can. I've seen a lot of them.
Well, you got to remember that Ultra HD does not necessarily mean 4K either.
Sure, yeah.
Because you have, your basic resolutions are your 720p, your 1080p, your whatever 2K is. I can't remember, 1440 or just a little bit higher than that. And then your 2390 or whatever the 4K resolution is.
3960, something like that. Anyway, yeah. I think the most important things to think about, it not necessarily resolution, like you said, 4K, 1080p, 720. You mentioned it earlier, Shawn. HDR. HDR is huge. If you can get a TV with HDR, that's great. If you can also...
And for those of you who don't know what HDR stands for, all it means is high dynamic range, meaning the quality of the pixels has been enhanced.
Yeah. Colors are brighter.
Colors are better, yeah. So
blacks are darker.
High dynamic range just means there's a larger contrast ratio. So when you see these numbers like 1 million to 1 contrast ratio or, those high contrast ratios, they're trying to fool you into thinking that it's HDR, but
it's fluff. But what Andy just said right there, blacks are darker. No, not with HDR. That's where you talk about OLED versus QLED versus LED, right? LED would be the cheapest of the bunch. It's just backlit with LED. QLED is I think it's a Samsung proprietary thing, but it basically mimics OLED. Now, OLED stands for organic light emitting diode, and that is the truest of the true blacks. Like, these little pixels can actually emanate light themselves. They don't need to be backlit with anything. Versus QLED, LED, plasma, whatever, LCD, they all have to have a backlight. OLED is the best of the best. However, it's also the most expensive. QLED is what I got. So I got a 4K QLED HDR 75-inch TV in the basement. It's great. It's an amazing TV. I got upstairs a 4K HDR QLED, another TV upstairs, and that's also great. But honestly, that's where it's at. It's QLED for the price point, OLED for the quality.
Now, in our TV room, we did the like Shawn recommended, 55. So we got a 55-inch. It's Sony. We got a good deal on it. We like it. But I do notice that if we were sitting any closer, it would, I think, not be a great experience. So remember to have that depth from
You're right.
the bigger screen, the longer, the little further away you need to be.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to have a 75-inch TV in a room where you're going to be sitting 6 feet away from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be overkill. And you're going to hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
So for me,
Get eye fatigue.
Yeah, you're going to eye fatigue. I've got the 75-inch, but I'm sitting 12 feet away.
Right.
So yeah, that's better. So yes, room size does absolutely play a part.
So let's talk about the next fixing point for TVs: refresh rate. Most standard TVs come at 60 hertz refresh.
That's what broadcast is. Broadcast
that's
is
what broadcast
60
is.
hertz.
59.94 to be more
Exactly.
exact. But then you jump up to 120, which is double the refresh rate. So what the refresh rate means is it's sampling, you're seeing it 120 cycles per second, 120 times instead of 60. So if something moves very quickly across the screen, you're only going to see it sampled 60 times. If you sample it 120 times, you're going to see a much smoother motion because you're sampling it double the amount of time. Out there right now, most TVs are either 60 or 120. You might find some that are 144 and even some that are 240 if you're getting really up into the high price point. There are companies that are trying to surpass 360 hertz.
Matter of fact, there's a company called I think it's BOE, that is actually coming out with a 500 monitor, and they're even having an issue with that.
Yeah, so I just saw that, so that's what I was getting at with the refresh rate. So there's a company, you said BOE, made in China. They're working on getting a 500 hertz. They have a 500 hertz prototype out right now. Today, and this article states that screens right now currently only go as high as 360 hertz.
Yeah.
So if you could probably find something that price range, but it's probably a prototype or a one-off. It's not mainstream. So
now I have seen the 240s in the wild. Those are available that people can go in, to a retailer and buy a television. The thing is that does add quite a bit to the price point because the picture for action, for sports, is going to be pretty amazing as far as what it's going to be able to capture.
Absolutely.
In 2011, Samsung used an oxide LCD to make a 4K gaming monitor that ran 240 hertz.
Thinking of the listener right now that is saying, honey, we've got a little extra money. It's going to be coming in with our tax return. Let's go ahead and buy a television.
All right, I'll break it down then. So 4K Ultra HD, HDR, 120 hertz refresh rate.
Bingo.
That's going to be a nice price point.
Bingo.
And then you can decide if you want to pay more for the QLED or pay a little less for the OLED, right? That's your price point, right? QLED is going to be more expensive, but you're still going to get 4K Ultra HD HDR at 120, but you're going to get a little more truer colors, a little bit better black colors than the OLED. So that's your price point. You're looking at spending about $800 to $1,000 probably for a TV in that price range.
If I can also just offer one other piece of advice.
Go ahead.
If you're looking for a TV, remember, this is going to be something that is going to be with you for years.
Hopefully.
And you are hopefully years. I'm talking 5 to 10 years. And you are going to be watching this TV most likely every day for 2 to 6 to 8 hours.
Right.
Don't get the cheapest thing you can find because if you do, you will be replacing your TV every 2 years. If you can afford it, get the most expensive brand and the expensive model you can afford, and that will last you a long time. But I'm telling you from experience, I had a store model that was already burnt in for thousands of hours because it was a store model, and that lasted me about 2 years, and it was done. It was a 70-inch TV. It was done.
Whoa.
Then I had I've had 3 different Vizios that I bought that you use them 3 to 4 to 5 hours a day or so, and those all last me about 2 years.
I do. I like Sony.
Now,
I like Sony as a brand, but
Sony's great.
I've had good experience with LG too.
But LG, yeah, for the most part. But I obviously not a store model, the one that was been turned on for 12 hours a day for the past 8 months to a year. Anyway, so what I got is I've got 2 Samsungs. I've got a Samsung upstairs and a Samsung downstairs. The Samsung downstairs, I told you, was a 75-inch 4K Ultra HD, all that jazz, HDR. That cost me $2,900. The one upstairs is a 65-inch 4K HDR Ultra HD. That one cost me a little over $1,000.
All right, so I got to say this. You're talking about a TV being with you for years. Do you remember when you were a kid, Justin, Shawn, that RCA television. That big RCA.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was a 27-inch television. You
Yep.
never got rid of it because nobody could move it. That's why.
My grandparents had one.
You would get another TV and put it on top of that one.
Or the people that had the
large.
larger rear projection TVs.
Exactly.
Oh,
Oh,
my
those
gosh.
things. Yeah. You see them once in a while at the side of the road. People just say, I'm done with this, and they push it out the back of a truck.
Remember old Bert Lee there?
Oh, yeah.
Andy?
Good old broadcaster Bert Lee.
Yeah, he had like a 55-inch square rear projection, RGB television in his upstairs of his townhome that he had.
Yep.
And he wanted to get rid of it, and I was like, "Well, you're going to have to push this thing out a window because there's no way this is going. I'm not taking. You don't pay me enough to move this thing down the stairs by myself. No, sir."
Oh, no. And you will find the TVs now that you're going to buy, even the ones, that Shawn and Justin were talking about, really are really light, really lightweight. They're great for hanging. You can find kits for doing it. All right, before we go to break, we got to talk about this Wordle thing. So last week in the show, we talked about Wordle and just how it came out of nowhere, became this huge sensation. And who would have thunk in this past week, Josh Wardle got a got an offer to sell it.
Yep.
Wait, no, his
And
name is Josh Wardle. And he sold Wordle. He sold it to the New York.
Wardle is his name.
Yeah.
Wordle is the game.
And we've invited him on the show, but he did not respond to our requests. Either way, and I don't think he's responding to anybody's request right now. He has banked himself 7 figures in a deal with the New York Times. Now the big question is, are they going to pull the life out of it? Because honestly, let's face it, right? It's been free, no ads. It's been fun. Now it's going to be on the New York Times website.
Yeah. I think when the New York Times said it's going to remain free for now. Mm-hmm. That could also mean next week
with a
it's gonna
subscription.
be monetized.
Free for now with a subscription.
But you got to remember, like, the New York Times is known for their puzzles and word games and things like that.
True,
so of course
true.
they're not going to want that kind of competition because they know they can get more eyeballs with a much larger audience. So
Yeah. But are they going to require you to have a subscription to be able to play it? Because I don't know. Can you play the New York Times daily crossword puzzle for free? Or do you have to have a subscription? Or do you have to watch 1,000 ads?
It's not one of my go-to
you had to pay for the newspaper before to do it.
Can't you do it on the web? Because that's how Wordle is.
I bet you can't. I bet you that's why I said they can make it for free. Probably the portal that'll point to the New York Times website. That's what I'm thinking.
Subscribe to the New York Times to do the crossword.
Yep, there we go.
So play it while you
unlimited
can.
access to the crossword and more.
Play it while you can. Have some fun.
Yep, you need a subscription to access this puzzle.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I can call it right now. It was fun, but Wordle is dead.
Somebody else have to come up with a good one. All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up a little later on in the show, Steve Greenberg, the Innovation Insider, the guy who put the book out about gadgets. You see him all the time with the Today Show going on there and showing off, the cool technology, the cool gadgets. And he does other TV newscasts and talk shows around the country showing some of this cool stuff. He's a friend of the show. I've done segments with him out of CES. So again, he'll be on the show. Also, Steambox is a brand new product, brand new invention. You want to take your lunch to work in style? You definitely want to be in for this. And then we've got a great website of the week all coming up. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Find us on the web, TechtalkRadio.com. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
This year's CES, there were so many cool products that were shown. One of them that really caught my eye was a product that we could use in our everyday life. And we've been talking about more and more technology being introduced into the home, into the kitchen, but this is one that can be combined as well as taking it to work. And it's called Steambox. And I have with us on the phone line the CEO of the company, Amit Shura, to tell us a little bit about Steambox and what it's all about. Amit, thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for welcoming me, Andy. Thank you.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this development of this really cool product.
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Amit Shura from the Netherlands, co-founder and CEO at Steambox. And Steambox is a self-heating lunchbox. So as the name already implies, it enables you to enjoy hot food anywhere at any time.
Which is amazing because, with the technology we have currently with the microwave, it's easy to go to work and just pop something into the microwave. But people have always told me when you do that and you've spent so much time on a meal, it can really kind of take away some of the flavor of the food. Steambox does it in a completely different way with this technology.
Exactly. And that's exactly one of the reasons why we came up with this idea and this product. So Steambox, as the name already implies, actually steams your food. So no radiation or direct heating, but it uses steam. And the thing with steam is that it's not only much better tasting than microwave meal, which often tends to get dry, you overcook stuff very quickly. It's also much healthier than you, as you preserve a lot of the nutrients that's in your food.
Where was that? I have to ask for you, where was that aha moment? You know, that moment when you decided that, you know, this really could work and this would be something consumers would really enjoy?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I used to have and still have a very active lifestyle, always on the go. I was studying at the time at university here in Rotterdam. I was working part-time, going to the gym 5-6 times a week. So I was always struggling with the right types of food to eat, right? I wanted to eat healthy, but also tasty. My parents are of Indian descent, so eating hot and tasty food, which is and also healthy food, has been like a staple in all of my diets I've followed over the years. But throughout this on-the-go struggle, I was always facing three main issues. One of them you just addressed was the annoyance of microwaves when you could find one in the first place. Always looking for one, and when I find one, they were either gross because other people use them, and the food explodes in there, and you know how they look like, long waiting lines. It was either that or having to face unhealthy takeout food, especially in the city center or just outside of the city center at the university campus, and lastly, expensive takeout food. It ended up costing me a lot of money to keep buying food every day, the right types of food I needed to eat. And there was this one very, it wasn't actually an aha moment, it was more a moment of extreme frustration where I thought, I'm so sick of it. I just want to solve it right now. And that's where the idea was born.
It's funny because I am of Indian descent as well. And, you know, sometimes, when I'll take, you know, my biryani or my madras into work. And if I pop it in the microwave, I love it. But everybody gets mad at me. Now, with Steambox, I have the possibility of making a really good curry at home, taking it to work, and not, you know, having that smell go all through the building, keeping it within my, you know, my office or my studio here. And everybody would be happy. Plus, it's going to taste better because I don't, after I've put that stuff in the microwave, I notice it does kind of zap some of the flavor. It, you know, the rice never comes out right. In this way, I'm going to get a really cool, you know, result of that. Now, I have to ask, so, I mean, how does the product actually work? You tell people Steambox, this is what it does. I was really excited when I saw it. I was showing the video to everybody, but can you explain to our listeners how this works?
Absolutely. And also feel free to check out the video. It's of course better for visualization. But in basic terms, it's a lunchbox, the same proportions and sizes as you're used to. The only difference is that it has two parts. So there's this outer box, so to say, and you have this inner container. And this inner container is something made of stainless steel, which you can take out. So the one of the coolest features, according to me, is that you can take it out, throw it in a dishwasher, and then insert a new one. Or if you have a long day ahead of you, you can actually bring multiple meals and just eat them up one by one throughout the day. So the idea is that you put your food in the food container, you close the product, and then you take it with you. In the product, you also have like a small water container. Because it steams your food, you have to add a little bit of water. So it's like less than a cup size. When you're at your destination, on the go, traveling, hiking, wherever you are, and you're starting to get hungry, you simply take off the lid, pour in the water underneath the container for a designated spot where you put the water on a heating element, and then you close the lid and you turn it on. So you can turn it on through two ways. You can do it through the awesome interface that we have, like a touch interface we have on the device itself, or use the app that we also have. There you can actually set the time you want on the minute. So on the device that will be in frequencies of 5 minutes, so 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25. And in the app, you can set the exact time. Now, when you initiate the heating process, it starts heating up the water, it starts boiling and creates a steaming effect. And the steaming actually heats up the meal, plus the food container itself gets very hot. So within 12 to 15 minutes max, depending on the type of meal you have and the portion size, you have like a very, very hot and nutritious meal anywhere, anytime.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I'm sure a lot of testing had to go into this from the initial, the concept where you say, okay, how can we make this work? You may have tried some different things. What were some of the comments that you got from some of those product testers, or even yourself that said, okay, this is really why this product is going to be so popular in the marketplace?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And yes, we have done a lot of testing ourselves and with other people, lots of different types of people and food. So the nice thing is it's very diverse in terms of the types of food you can put in. Everything you would basically put in a steam oven or reheat in your pan, you could actually insert in Steambox. So we have a vision, and we see that vision in basically everybody that talks about it. We recognize that vision again. And that vision is called freedom of food, the ability to enjoy any type of food, anywhere, anytime. That's the number one thing we always get back. It gives people freedom. They can take charge over their diet. They can take charge of their day in terms of their agenda, their timing, and they're in full control of what they eat, when, where. So that's the number one thing we always get back.
You know what I love about this too? I mean, this is really, when you think about it, it gives the people, like you said, choices for those that want to eat healthier, that you're not buying something that's loaded with tons of, I don't want to say chemicals, but honestly, let's face it. When you buy a TV dinner and you pop it in the microwave, with this, you can meal prep at home, and a lot of people are doing that now, and actually plan a really healthy, delicious meal.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you touched upon that. So also think about people that are vegan, for instance, who often have like very limited choices of food. They can eat only specific types of non-animal based types of food. But also something we discovered actually only after we launched our product and after we got feedback is a market for parents, or I should say for kids. A lot of parents are worried about their kids eating good stuff at food or at school.
Yeah.
They're afraid, like, hey, I want my kid to eat healthy and I want him or her to eat good types of food. So actually about a fifth of all our orders so far are actually from parents, something we never thought about in the first place. We were purely selfishly thinking about ourselves, like, hey, I would love this, but never thinking about other markets until we got this as feedback.
This is a great way to build the product as well. If a kid is taking this to school, or even a grown-up, maybe taking it to college classes, people can look over and go, what is that? And then when they realize just how cool it is and how different it is, it's something that they may want to try themselves and be able to pass the word along. I am certain that crowdfunding, and I do believe you did do some crowdfunding on this to kind of get it to market and get it to be completed. How much did that play a part in the development of Steambox?
Yeah, the crowdfunding is really the way we got started, and after crowdfunding, we really had this final confirmation, like, yes, people love what we did and what we created. So we launched on Kickstarter, one of the biggest crowdfunding platforms out there.
Yeah.
And we did a campaign on Indiegogo, ended up raising our required funding within the first 24 hours. So within 24 hours, we had raised the amount that we were looking for. And
wow.
we ended up raising over $200,000 through our crowdfunding campaign. So significant amount of people that are interested all over the world. We have people that order from us, Steam boxes from us, from over 54 different countries all across the globe.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Now, one of the things that I think would be fun with this is the ability to really come up with some recipes. You get an idea, you go, oh, I want to have this today. I want to have chili verde, or I want to make, vindaloo. I want to take that. Is there going to be like maybe some recipe ideas, or are people already starting to share those like in social media?
Very happy you touched upon that as well. So in our app, the main function is to control Steambox, of course, but we also have a recipe section. So we will be providing an X amount of recipes from the go, just some creative stuff. We're going to do some stuff ourselves. We're working with chefs. The cool thing about crowdfunding is that you have like a group of people not only investing in your product, but also being vested in your product and your company, willing to help you provide feedback. Together with these people, we're going to build the recipe platform on our app. And the nice thing is we're gonna integrate all that feedback and constantly update the recipe section on our app and just keep on adding the best recipes that are best for Steambox.
I could see people taking this on social media and sharing some of the videos that they've created themselves. Now, I've got to say that the video that you created that really shows the product is so well done. I've seen product videos where it's somebody holding up the product and saying this is what it does, but you really give a really great view of what this product is capable of. Now, where can our listeners actually see the product and how it actually works?
Yeah, so the best place for that would be our website, which is www.steam-box.com, which is our website. All the information is listed there. You can place an order and everything if you want to reach out to us as well.
Now, has there been the discussion of this being a product that we would find in retail? Or are you finding really the best place for it is to be direct by going to the website and ordering it? And is that how listeners could purchase it?
Yes, for now, that's the only way. Even though I can teach you a little bit saying that we are talking to quite some big retailers in the US as well, where we are interested in placing our products because we do want to give people the opportunity to still touch, feel it, hold it in their hands before they can make a purchase order. But that will be in the near future. But for now, it's only our website, yes.
Now, you were at CES this year. You had a lot of people coming around, taking a look, checking it out. And a lot of these people are in the tech world that have different products. Were a lot of them looking at the product thinking, hey, I want this for the office?
Yes. It's so funny always. This was our second time actually at CES, and I always love to go there. You get these type of reactions from all places you wouldn't expect them. So people that are there for their own company, just walking by your stand on their way to their own stand and just stopping by and saying, I love this. I'm here to sell my own products, but I want yours. Can I buy one? And then they just order one right on the spot. So I always love that.
That is so cool. Now, once again, if you don't mind, give us that website address.
Absolutely. So that will be www.steam-box.com.
All right. Now, our listeners, you get them. I want to see what you're creating with them. So make sure you send me, photos, video, all of that stuff. We'll keep an eye. Now, do you have a social media presence on Instagram or Facebook as well?
Yes, absolutely. On both of them. So that will be steambox.official on both platforms.
Very cool. Great to talk to you. Thank you so much. And you made a great product. I can't wait to start cooking up my curries in there as well.
I can truly imagine. And your colleagues too.
We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
And a friend of the show, we love talking with Steve Greenberg. Now, Steve is a tech and gadget reporter, author of a book that we've talked to him about this on the show before, Gadget Nation, A Journey Through the Eccentric World of Invention. Great book. You can still pick it up. Gadget guy, you've seen him on the Today Show and doing other TV newscasts and talk shows around the country. And he's host of YouTube's brand new gadget game show, What the Heck Is That? We've done segments with Steve from CES in Las Vegas, and great to have him on the show. Steve, thanks for coming on.
It's really a pleasure, Andy. So terrific to be back on your show, and nice introduction. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners who don't know. How did you get involved in actually covering tech?
Well, I started as a news reporter. I was a on-camera reporter in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, doing health and science.
Yep.
And I did that for a number of years, and I moved to Miami doing the same thing for CBS. And then I really got tired of doing news, and I ended up doing a couple of different kinds of jobs, one for Home and Garden Television, and then ultimately one for Discovery Channel and a show called Your New House. And my segment was called Check This Out, which was really just about gadgets. And I found it was a great niche. I thought it was fun for me. I love doing show and tell television. And it was a good fit. So I really wanted to do a TV show called Gadget Nation. I pitched the idea to a bunch of folks. Nobody took it.
Yeah.
Someone suggested I write the book. That's how the book happened. And kind of the rest is history. The Today Show took me on because of the book, and they kept having me back on to do gadgets.
Well, your book, The Gadget Nation, really took on the entrepreneurial spirit with so many different gadgets, so many devices to really impact our lives featured throughout the book. What was kind of your decision in what made it into the book?
Look, everybody has an idea, it seems like, and every third or fourth person actually tries to bring that idea to the marketplace. And my book, Gadget Nation, really looked at mom and pop garage inventors. So I wasn't looking to see what LG or Sony was coming up with. I was really looking to see what, your brother-in-law or that a teacher at the other end of town had come up with. And that's what Gadget Nation was all about this entrepreneurial spirit that's inside of America to come up with the next great idea and to bring it to marketplace. So, and that's kind of been my call. That's been my wheelhouse ever since. I like those are the products I like to focus on. So I'm not really a tech guy in the sense that I have to showcase things that have, a battery or plug-in or have, some software. A lot of what I showcase are just clever gadgets that are something you find in the kitchen or whatnot, which again is a mom and pop kind of invention. But I do the other tech stuff as well too. But a lot of it is really about that niche in America.
Many people don't get a chance to really see some of these really cool technological gadgets. They might not have, a retailer nearby that sells some of this stuff. So you really bring this out, especially with your segments on the Today Show. You bring this stuff out to say, hey, that could make my life easier, or that's something that maybe the kids would like, or, we could add to our office. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, which makes me wonder, Steve, could there be a part 2 of Gadget Nation?
Oh, I mean, certainly there could be a part 2 of Gadget Nation. I have kind of wrestled with the idea of doing it because it's such a lot of work to pull together a book.
Mm-hmm.
But I would certainly consider it. I might still do it. And actually, during the pandemic, it was like, I was during lockdown. Maybe there's a time to write the book, and that's sort of when I decided to do the game show. So the game show sort of, beat that out. And I spent so much time doing emails and whatnot at my computer. To be able to do something where I'm talking to people is way more fun. So the game show, which again is just another platform to show new products, it's another place to show mom and pop and garage inventor products. And just a different venue for it. So that was the idea behind the game show. And if enough people subscribe to it and it continues and I get a sponsor and whatnot, then it'll be another real platform to showcase new products.
I love the idea. Now, the show itself is called What the Heck Is That? And it's kind of you would say it's a combination of what Shark Tank and What's My Line?
Yeah, it is like that because it's a panel show, which is very retro. I have different panelists every week, and I'm the host, and we have the 4 panelists. We're asking yes or no questions, like 20 questions, to try to figure out what that gadget is. They obviously can see it. I give them a hint of some kind, and they have to come up with what it does. And then you at home can be playing along because you're trying to guess it with them, and you'll see if you're right or not right. Each segment's about maybe 12 minutes long. After 12 minutes, you find out if you're right or one of the panelists gets it. And again, not only is it fun for us to do it, hopefully we're joking around enough that it's enjoyable to watch,
yes.
But also you ultimately do find out what the gadget is, and you learn about a product that's available for sale that people can actually purchase. So it's just a great platform for showcasing new products.
It's that concept. Carlton Cuse came up with the show Lost. Had a saying that, it's a what's in the box type show, which keeps you wanting to watch. It keeps you wanting to see, what is this mystery and how is this mystery changing my life? And that's exactly what you get with What the Heck Is That? Because everybody wants to know, what is this thing? What the heck is that?
And what's fun is if you know what it is, you want to see if the panel gets it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what it is, you want to find out what it is. Or if you have a guess, you want to see if you're right. So there's enough motivation to stick through from the beginning to the end. I try to find interesting mystery gadgets. For me, it's a blast to do. It's something I want to do. So I'm doing a lot of it for me. And I'm hoping if the show gets some traction and we get a significant number of subscribers and viewers that watch the show, that we can take it and keep growing it. That's the plan.
When I first heard about it on your Instagram post, is where I saw it, and I thought this is an awesome idea because again, it's got all the elements of not only showing because I do the same thing. I go on television and I show gadgets, and it's always kind of fun, but it gives people a chance to really go, what is that? That is different. What is the really kind of coolest gadget that you've kind of shown on the What the Heck Is That show?
Oh my gosh, it's like it's like picking your favorite child. Oh my God, I did a product called Foci, which is this is a tech product, but it's actually from a very small startup company, but it measures your attention span. And I always have issues with my attention span. So I've used it. And when you stop paying attention, it vibrates. And so you go back to what you're doing. And I thought it's a very clever idea. And I think that's one of the neat, it's small, it's priced really well. So that's one that comes to my mind first. But there are no favorites. I love all my gadgets equally. So I want to make that very clear. But over the years, I've gone to all these trade shows, as you have, Andy. You've been to the Epcoms, the Showstoppers, and whatnot, and you're looking over a crowd of people, looking at a Costco table, saying what, and they're showing something, and you're asking yourself, what the heck am I looking at? What is that? And you're trying to half listen to what they're saying and figure it out. So this is kind of taking that experience and putting it into a game show.
Our listeners can see this at GadgetGameShow.com. Then click on the YouTube link there. When you pitch the idea to some of your panelists and even some of the companies out there that have some really cool stuff, are they coming to you, or do you kind of like hear about something and you call them up and say, hey, I got this show, this product should be on the show? How does that work?
It's a little bit of both. If I see something that's really kind of a great mystery gadget that's kind of fun, I'll reach out to them. But more times than not, I mean, just like I'm sure you have the same thing, Andy, I have so many emails every day. I have so many pictures of products that, I can, almost close my eyes and touch my email and pick something out. The only thing is it has to be a product that when you look at it, you don't instantly know what it is. Some products are, clearly what they are by looking at them. These products have to be mystery gadgets. They have to be do something clever, solve a problem, be available for sale right now, and yet what its function is a mystery until you learn what it is.
It really is a great time because we are seeing a lot of products that are and being a big part of the life where it can be for health. We just interviewed the CEO of a company earlier that makes this product called Steambox, which basically steam heats your food. And I mean, who would have thunk? I mean, I really, we're getting stuff in our cars now that make driving easier. So there's so much out there, and like you said, weeding through it can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. But you make it a lot of fun.
Oh, I hope that the game show is first and foremost fun, and then right behind that informative. But I want it should be an enjoyable 12 minutes that you want to do another 12 minutes afterwards, because it should be fun first. And then informative second. But some people ask me, what makes a good gadget? And what really makes a good gadget is something that solves a problem in a very smooth and painless way. I mean, there's so many problems that we come across, and we either walk around them or we stumble over them. But if there's a gadget that helps you get around it easier or get over it easier, then it's a good gadget. So that's sort of how I look at it. Like, is this thing really needed? Is it solving a problem that needs to be solved? And that is kind of like how I decide if it's worthy or not worthy.
How about the ease factor too? Because I know we get some of those developers that listen to the show. When it comes to using a product, should the average person who has very little technical expertise be able to operate it?
Well, I think that's one of the beauties of me, is that I am the average guy, and I can't work anything. I mean, I am truly, if it's not going to work for somebody, it's not going to work for me. So if I can get it to work and it works easily for me, then anybody can work it. So I think that's my strength out there, is my everyman quality.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of it. Sometimes I can be very technically deficient. And I'm proud of that, and I hang on to it.
How often do you get to do the Today Show segment, and what is it like putting that together? Do you still get nervous like when you're going on?
No, I've never been. I've been doing TV an awfully long time, and I mean, if things don't go well or something is crashing right before we go on, all of a sudden I get that stab in the stomach that I hate. But generally, I'm not nervous about doing the Today Show. Now, the Today Show was in-person live experience up until the pandemic, and so since then, I have yet to go back to the studio, because I was on last Friday, and again, it was a tape piece. Yeah. And so what they're having me do lately is I've done a few segments via Zoom, but most of the time, I literally shoot the segment on my smartphone, my iPhone. Yep. And because I came from TV news, I know how to put together a story. So I shoot all the pieces and the B-roll and the cutaways and whatnot. I put it all together. I label it accordingly, put it in Dropbox. They pick it up in Dropbox, they build it, and it goes on television. And it blows my mind that something shot on my phone is running on NBC, but that's exactly what's happened. I've done probably a dozen segments that way now because for the past 2 years. I'm hoping my next segment on the Today Show will be in person in the studio.
We've been doing the Fox 11 segments we do out here in Tucson. We did 2 years where I was just doing the same thing, shooting it at home and turning it around and sending it to them. Then we said, okay, let's do live 1 week and then recorded the other. So that was good. Then they invited me back, and they got a brand new set. They got a new graphic behind me. I was like so excited. I went back for 2 segments, and then the Omicron happened, and it was like, okay, you're back at home. It's like, oh, you teased me.
So I got the tease verbally, but never in person. I was just about to go back and do a segment all about cold weather gadgets. And we had scheduled a date. I was going to come in and do it. Then Omicron happened. They canceled it.
Yeah.
And it was postponed. And then they said, you know what, can you pull it together as a tape piece? And that's what went on last Friday. It's kind of you never know what's going to happen next.
If you're doing a segment on cold weather, have you ever seen the gloves that you put on and then they've got like a clear screen and the gloves are connected and you've got your smartphone in that, you stick it into the gloves and then you can still text in the 0 degree temperature? Like you would really want to be outside doing that.
I haven't seen them, but I would love that one. That's a great product. I'm surprised you stumped me. That's a terrific product. I had like a heated sweater that had like, a battery pack in it and
nice.
A bunch of things. I also have like a battery for charging your phone that's also a hand warmer. So it's designed, and it's also a flashlight. So it's a flashlight, hand warmer, and battery pack for your phone.
Very
I had a
cool.
bunch of products, but they were all kind of on that ilk.
Well, if for all of our listeners that love gadgets, Steve, you're so much fun to watch too. Our listeners got to check it out, GadgetGameShow.com. Keep an eye on the Today Show for when you're on. And again, we're so happy to have you on the show. We got to get you back on a little more often because I remember.
Absolutely, Andy. I love anytime you want me on. I'd be happy to do it. Again, as you said, please, your listeners, GadgetGameShow.com. Click on that link to YouTube. I think I have about 48 episodes up there right now. So pick and choose and hopefully have fun. Watch the later ones. They're better.
Great stuff. I love it. Steve, thank you for coming on again. We'll talk to you again real soon. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Last week, there were some big gaming news for those of you who are gamers or play video games, with Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. Mm-hmm. Not to be trumped by Sony getting a purchase in there as well, with Sony purchasing Bungie. Bungie, originally the creators of Halo, who then sold to Microsoft, and then it's complicated, but that all makes sense. Everybody bought somebody else. So Sony reached out and bought Bungie for around $4 billion. So not quite the price point that Activision Blizzard got, but they're
billion?
known for their game Destiny, which is a very popular action RPG. And so that's kind of shaking up the gaming world again. And it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, how many gaming studios are there going to be under one roof?
I think we're under the console wars again.
Yeah, because think about it. Wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, Destiny and Halo both really kind of Microsoft Xbox games.
Destiny, not so much.
When I think about it,
Destiny's been more of a PC, PS4, Xbox kind of cross.
Okay, so is that, yeah, and now, the FTC is, and we knew this was going to happen. The FTC is going to investigate this whole Microsoft buying Blizzard and all of that. So that's going to be investigated. So who's left?
Well, you've got
independent developers.
No, not independent. Come on, man. You got Take-Two Interactive, which is the publisher. Yeah. Rockstar is the developer. Dude, whoever ends up. Now, first off, my point of view, Microsoft is the only company that could afford to buy Take-Two Interactive, which includes then would buy and end up buying Rockstar Games. Sony does not have the capital. They don't have the money. Bungie was the only company they could probably afford at the time. This to me personally reeked of desperation. Okay? Sony owned the consoles the last generation. This generation comes out, Sony and Microsoft are going neck and neck, and Sony was starting to take the lead, but then Microsoft makes this big purchase, and now Sony's like, oh God, what are we going to do? And they went out and bought a developer because that's the only thing they could do. And I think this purchase price versus Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard at what, $62 billion or $64 billion? That's just a drop in the bucket.
I didn't Take Two recently do some kind of merger as well. That didn't they buy? I thought that they bought into something.
They bought Zynga.
Zynga, was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Zynga's a developer, and so is Rockstar. Rockstar makes Grand Theft Auto.
But it'll be under
their big
the
one.
Take-Two Interactive kind of flagship.
Sure. Yeah. So you always hear about Take-Two, Rockstar. You know, Rockstar makes Grand Theft Auto. They make Red Dead Redemption. They make a bunch of other games. But I think that would be the next logical one. Whoever can end up buying Take-Two Interactive and or Rockstar games is going to own the console wars.
All right, we are not going to be able to fit in our website of the week this week, so we're going to save it for next week. In the meantime, we're looking for your questions. If you've got a question for us, email us, techguys@techtalkradio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Have yourselves a great week. We'll see you next time.